Hello everyone and welcome back to the Triple Crown Wargaming studio with just me today, the Loremaster, bringing you a rundown of the top 3 lists from the Triple Crown Wargaming Grand Tournament 2023 Volume 2, as I'm going to describe it, which was the June event. So we saw a top 3 that had quite a different makeup to what we'd seen in May, and the difference in points between third and first was just 2 points. So 106 points for third place, 107 for second, and 108 for first. So very, very tightly contested top 3. With that said, I'm not going to hang around. I'm going to dive straight into the third place list. This list was run by Dr. Luke Blacksil. It's a Warriors of Chaos army, and its overall comp was +1. He was Highlander, he had no Scroll, no BSB, he had Forsaken and Hellstriders, so a very large amount of pluses, but he had a Demon Prince to offset that on Law of Death. He had Throg, some Core Trolls and a Warpfire Dragon. So let's take a little look at what he was mustering. His army was led by a Demon Prince, as I've said. He had Chaos Armour, he was Demon of Nurgle, he flies, he had Law of Death, level 4 Wizard, with the Chaos Familiar, Flaming Breath, Gouged Skin and Soul Feeder. So a lot there that is pretty standard for a chunky Demon Prince. He had Charm Shield on him, Dragon Main Gem, and opted for the other Trickster's Shard, which we're seeing a little bit more now of people kind of choosing that over the sort of striking combination. So I quite like to see something different, and that's cool. His army general, however, sorry, I said his army was led by, but that's not quite right. His army general was actually Skylar Anthengrim, because he's leadership 10. So quite a smart move there, because effectively he can then be much more risky and aggressive with that Demon Prince. He had Throg as his other hero for his core. He had Sinesh Chariot, 5 Warhounds. He had 10 Chaos Warriors with Halberds, Mark of Khorne, Shields and a Standard, 5 Forsaken, a unit of 8 Chaos Trolls, which were Throg's Trolls, into Special, Chimera with Flaming Breath and Regenerating Flesh, 5 Hellstriders with a Standard. Into Rare, he went for 3 Skull Crushers with Ensorcered Weapons, a Standard Bearer with a Gleaming Pennant, and a young Warpfire Dragon. So this list definitely had that Monster Mash feel that has been happening a little bit over the last 18 months, I'd say, with the Warpfire Dragon, and then pairing that with the Chimera, and then effectively the Demon Prince, all very aggressive, and it's anchored down by kind of monstrous infantry trolls in the core, which are very robust. And I think if you check out our the latest episode of Loose Warhammer, you'll see an interview with Luke where he talks about how he felt, what he felt was so strong about his list. But I think from the outside looking in, if you're not fighting Law of Death, this is going to be really robust, because the monsters come in really hard and fast on you. They put a lot of pressure on and you have to deal with them. Demon Prince in particular is so hard to deal with. The Warpfire Dragon is so dangerous to deal with when he gets up close, and in terms of the fact that he has that explosive demise, and then effectively it's all anchored back by this really hard unit of trolls which are really difficult to shift. So it doesn't massively shock me that this list performed really well, and the trolls also double up and give him defense against artillery, which we definitely saw a little bit more of at the June GT. So moving on to the second place list, this was run by James Caldrick, and it was Bretonnians. And James's list had a Bretonnian Lord with the Knight's Vow shield on a Barded Warhorse. He had the Curious of Fortune, the Silver Lance of the Blessed, Dragonbane Gem, Potion of Speed, and a Virtue of Heroism. So he's got automatic hitting on that lance with Virtue of Heroism. He's really taken the bonus of having the separate Virtue allowance to the Magic Items allowance there. And he also had Prophetess the Lady on Law of Heavens. She is just a level 4 wizard. Job done. On a Bretonnian horse. In his heroes, he had a Paladin Battle Standard Bearer. They don't get a choice. Knight's Vow Lance. Again, Barded Warhorse, Enchanted Shield, and Virtue of Duty for him. And then second Paladin. This one was on a Royal Pegasus. He had the Worm Lance, Dragon Helm, and a Virtue of the Ideal. So that ups his stats but he can't can't give out his leadership, and effectively he has a sort of detrimental effect on nearby knights. But by putting him on the Royal Pegasus, that's a brilliant idea, because you get all of the positives, and you can really easily keep him away from the rest of your army. In his corps, he had 11 Knights Errant with full command of the Errantry banner, 10 Knights of the Realm with full command and the Banner of Eternal Flame, and another unit of 10 Knights of the Realm with Musician, a Standard Bearer and a Champion, so full command. Into Special, he opted for 2 units of 3 Pegasus Knights with a Champion, and then into his rare he had 2 Unicorns from Stormwood Magic, a Field Trebuchet, and a unit of 11 Grail Knights with a Musician and a Standard, so big unit of Grail Knights. His overall comp was +2, so again, this year we saw, so for this GT, the average comp was just below 0, so again, you can see this small plus here, +2, Luke's was +1, so again, that seems to have been the sweet spot for comp this year. We have said ourselves that we think the comp, as it's progressed, originally it was kind of that -5 felt like the sweet spot, but now sort of somewhere between -2 and +2 feels like the best spot for your comp now. So yeah, +2 for no Dispel Scroll, +1 for being Bretonnian, -1 for 2 Unicorns. So I mean, I think this list worked really well, particularly because of how many monsters and kind of big things there were in the meta. The Heroic Killing Blow, even against the monsters you can't Heroic Killing Blow, it still does D6 wounds, which is massive. A lot of his army can't be stomped on unless you're the largest of monsters, and I say a lot, it's basically just those unicorns that can be stomped on in this list, which is pretty impressive. Everything else is mounted, and so can't be unless you're a largest monster. So I can really see how that was successful for him. In those terms, I think it's interesting that he switched from. I know James is a big fan of Law of Life. He switched to this event for Law of Heavens, and we've been banging on the channel a little while how we really feel like that's a bit of an underrated gem for Bretonnia, and actually really powerful. And I can definitely see with this type of build that harmonic convergence and that Curse of Midnight Wind, particularly if you can bubble convergence, that's just, I can just imagine that will have been devastating if you got 2 lances into the same target. And I did see several of his games where he managed to do that, because he is an exceptionally high quality player as well. So not a shock to see him near the top. He's always in the mix when he comes to any event, James. He's very experienced general with Bretonnia, and I think he's just really got a greatly refined list here. I think he's really thought about it, and he's really utilised the changes that we make to Bretonnians in our event pack to see them punch through. So massive props and congratulations to James. And that brings us on to the winning list, which was Joby Bibby's Empire. This one had a comp score of 0, so dead in the middle. So again, that bracket we talked about earlier feels about right. Man after my own heart, love the Empire, been really enjoying them over the last sort of 18 months, and this list definitely has the classic Bibby hallmarks, shall we say, but I think he really thought about the fact that there's been so many monsters in the meta, and it isn't a shock to me that this style of list has performed really well, because as we go through it you'll see how powerful it can be against monster heavy armies. So his lords are Battle Wizard Lord, Law of Life level 4, with the Immortal Sivajir's Hex Scroll, which is the Bibby classic. Again, got some fantastic results of it over this weekend. I have no idea how he does it, never does it for me. In Heroes, he had a Battle Wizard on Law of Light level 2, a Captain of the Empire who was a Battle Standard Bearer with full plate armour. He had the Enchanter's Shield and the Luck Stone, so not dissimilar to what I run on mine actually. I think it's really solid. And then a second Captain of the Empire. This one had full plate, Lance and Shield. He's on an Imperial Pegasus with the Dawnstone and the Dragon Helm. So the classic Capacis. The Dragon Helm really helps there. He goes up to 3 wounds with it being on the Pegasus. And actually there's so much flaming artillery out there, he'll really be able to get in to his enemies. It's a fantastic shout. And obviously it's worked well for him. Now he's gone for 2 Master Engineers, which is very unusual, so full props there, and Warrior Priest with just light armour. I think he's just gone for the classic of, well, I don't think people are going to attack him, and so often people just don't attack the characters enough, in my opinion. Core, he had 49 Halberdiers with a Musician and a Standard Bearer. That's a big unit, a detachment of 5 archers. He had a unit of 10 Knights of the Inner Circle with full command and the Gleaming Pennant, and that's all his core. It's a big unit, Halberdiers 49. Into special, 3 Demigryph Knights. He's gone kept the Lances and gone for a Standard Bearer on those. Imagine the Standard Bearer is probably for the mission. I'd like to have seen a 4th one in that unit, but he's managed to make 3 work for him, so big props. Empire Great Cannon, first of those really obvious anti-monster choices. 3 units of 5 Pistoliers, which he maintained were top tier for him, and I think we're about to see why they may have been so good. Then he had 2 Hellblaster volley guns in the rare slot and a steam tank. So those engineers are going to pair up with those volley guns to do big damage. Those Pistoliers are going to block off enemy charges, shoot at enemy chaff, and just generally ensure that those volley guns can get the most out of that. He did say to me that in most games he got best part of 4 full rounds of shooting out of his army, which is incredible in the kind of pacey meta of 8th edition fantasy battles to be able to get that much shooting. But it just shows that even with all the scary monsters and all of the kind of weird and wonderful power plays people make, sometimes there's no substitute for just good old-fashioned quality Warhammer play. Just doing the basics really well, blocking your opponents, kiting, redirecting, good target priority. These are all things that just make for consistent great Warhammer, and Joby's done that really well. And then he's whittled his opponents with the 2 cannons, effectively the Great Cannon and the Steam Tank. He's hit big monsters. I watched him do that several times this weekend, really do a lot of damage to big monsters like that. He's used the volley guns to thin out elite troops that are maybe a little bit beyond the quality of units like Halberdiers. And then he's used that Life Wizard to just make the Halberdiers really difficult to shift and really difficult to deal with. And then he's counter-punched with the Griffs and the Knightly Orders. It's a classic Empire list. It's all very synergetic. It's all very supportive of each other. And we haven't even talked about the amount of damage I saw him do with the Steam Tank. I did see him literally run over a Nurgle Demon Prince on the impact hits with it in one game. So we haven't even talked about how good that is. So this is a really solid all-round Empire list. Bit more shoot heavy than you normally see, but props to him because he's gone down that route, knowing that monsters and kind of elite infantry have become the meta, and he's really counterplayed that well, and it's something that I love to see. Someone who takes a list a little bit like that and really brings it home. So massive congratulations to the top 3. To be fair, massive congratulations to the top 5. I think there was still only about 6 points between 5th and 1st. It was a very tightly contested field, the second event, as was the first one, but it was more tightly contested in June. Thank you to everyone that attended and had a fantastic weekend. If you're thinking about coming to a Triple Crown Wargaming event, they are awesome. Just listen to the interviews, talk to anyone that's been. We love to see you, we love to see new people, and I hope you've enjoyed this video, seeing the top 3 lists from the June event, and we'll see you all with a new video that probably involves models very, very soon.
Remember to tag your friends and like, subscribe and share. Then head over to triplecrownwargaming.com and become a Knight of the Realm today.
What are you doing, mate?
You alright? Do it for Warhammer!